Good morning, staff and colleagues. We'll begin with our Naa'bik'iyati Committee orientation/work session. Today is Friday, May 12th, 2023, 9 o'clock a.m. The agenda is posted, and we do have a call-in number. First, we'll start off with a roll call of the Naa'bik'iyati Committee members. Staff, could you help us with a roll call?
Yeah. Lamardo, Sherilyn.
Good morning, everybody. Beginning roll call with Honorable Stephen Arvizo. Honorable Stephen Arvizo. Honorable Stephen Arvizo did not answer roll call. Honorable Lamardo Assaret is excused. Honorable Norman Begay. Honorable Norman Begay. Honorable Norman Begay did not answer roll call. Honorable Helena Nez Begay. Honorable Helena Nez Begay. Honorable Helena Nez Begay did not answer roll call. Honorable Eugenia Charles Newton. Honorable Eugenia Charles Newton. Honorable Eugenia Charles Newton did not answer roll call. Honorable Shauna Ann Claw. Honorable Shauna Ann Claw.
Ann Claw present.
Honorable Shauna Ann Claw answered roll call. Honorable Amber Kanez Bakrati. Honorable Amber Kanez Bakrati.
Even online, there's only one person watching. It's probably me.
Honorable Amber Kanez Bakrati answered roll call, did not answer roll call. Madam Speaker, Crystalline Curley is present in the chambers, as well as Honorable Seth Damon. Honorable Herman Daniels. Honorable Herman Daniels. Honorable Herman Daniels did not answer roll call. Honorable Vince James. Honorable Vince James.
Delegate James present.
Honorable Vince James answered roll call. Honorable Brenda Jesus. Honorable Brenda Jesus.
Norman Begay online.
Honorable Brenda Jesus did not answer roll call. Honorable Norman Begay answered roll call. Honorable Casey Allen Johnson. Honorable Casey Allen Johnson. Honorable Casey Allen Johnson did not answer roll call. Honorable Dr. Andy Nez. Honorable Dr. Andy Nez. Honorable Dr. Andy Nez did not answer roll call. Honorable Rick Nez.
Delegate Rick Nez is on the call.
Honorable Rick Nez answered roll call. Honorable Nathan Nota.
Delegate Nota is here, and I'll be in the chambers momentarily.
Honorable Nathan Nota answered roll call. Honorable Shandine Parrish. Honorable Shandine Parrish. Honorable Shandine Parrish did not answer roll call. Oh, excuse me, Honorable Shandine Parrish is present in the chambers. Honorable Jermaine Simonson. Honorable Jermaine Simonson. Honorable Jermaine Simonson did not answer roll call. Honorable Danny Simpson will be on the call after 10 a.m. Honorable Carl Slater. Honorable Carl Slater. Honorable Carl Slater did not answer roll call. Honorable George Toll.
Delegate Slater present.
Excuse me, Honorable Carl Slater answered roll call. Honorable George Toll. Honorable George Toll. Honorable George Toll did not answer roll call. Honorable Curtis Unito. Honorable Curtis Unito. Honorable Curtis Unito did not answer roll call. Honorable Sherilyn Yazzie is excused. Going back up, Honorable Stephen Arvizo. Honorable Stephen Arvizo did not answer roll call. Honorable Helena Nesbegay. Honorable Helena Nesbegay did not answer roll call. Honorable Eugenia Charles Newton. Honorable Eugenia Charles Newton did not answer roll call. Honorable Amber Knez-Bakrati. Honorable Amber Knez-Bakrati did not answer roll call. Honorable Herman Daniels. Honorable Herman Daniels did not answer roll call. Honorable Brenda Jesus. Honorable Brenda Jesus did not answer roll call. Honorable Casey Allen Johnson. Honorable Casey Allen Johnson did not answer roll call. Honorable Dr. Andy Nez. Honorable Dr. Andy Nez did not answer roll call. Honorable Jermaine Simonson. Honorable Jermaine Simonson did not answer roll call. Honorable George Toll. Honorable George Toll did not answer roll call. Honorable Otto So. Honorable Otto So did not answer roll call. Honorable Curtis Unito. Honorable Curtis Unito did not answer roll call. With that, Madam Speaker, you have 9 delegates, including yourself, who answered roll call for today's meeting.
All right, thank you, staff. We do have 9 present for our Naa'bik'iyati committee work session. We do have an agenda before us. An invocation. Kodoa Shade. Delegate Shauna Antlaw, could you help us with the invocation this morning? Delegate Shauna Antlaw? Okay. If not, Delegate Parrish, could you help us with the invocation this morning?
Yeah, thank you, Speaker Curley. Otto, yeah, it's good morning to all of my colleagues on the 25th Navajo Nation Council, and good morning to everyone on the call. Let's bow in a word of prayer. Heavenly Father, we thank you for another day to serve the Navajo Nation and the Navajo people. Today we humbly come before you as we are convening to learn more about the status of the Division of Community Development and the projects across the Navajo Nation. Today, may you guide us in wisdom and also in the knowledge that will be provided today. We thank you for the work that each and every one of our Navajo Nation employees contribute to making the Navajo Nation a better place. We pray blessings for each and every one of them. We also pray blessings for our mothers across the Navajo Nation, as this weekend we celebrate our mothers on Mother's Day. And I pray these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, Honorable Parrish, for the invocation this morning. And colleagues, we go down to number 2, recognizing guests and visiting officials. On the floor, online, honorable colleagues. If there are no recognizing guests and visiting officials, we go down to number 3. I'll just read our work session agenda into the record. So we have session topics. A, introduction and purpose of work session orientation on April 18, 2023, the Navajo Nation Council table legislation 0026-23 to hold a Naa'bik'iyati orientation with the Navajo Division of Community Development to discuss the CHSN projects, ARPA projects, and Arizona, New Mexico, Utah projects. The motion was made by Honorable Vince R. James and second by Honorable Jermaine Simonson with a vote of 13 in favor and 8 opposed. So this work session does go in line with the time frame that was given with that motion during our spring council session. Number 1, update report by the Navajo Nation Executive Branch. Presenters, Calvin Castillo, Executive Director, Division of Community Development, James Atakai, Capital Projects Management Department. Number 2, discussion and comments. Number 3, final recommendations. Staff, could we check to see if we have Mr. Castillo and also Mr. Atakai online? Mr. Castillo, Mr. Atakai, are you online here with us? You can press star 6 to unmute yourselves. Mr. Castillo or Mr. Atakai. Mr. Atakai, we're getting feedback from your end. You might have to use one device to unmute so we can hear you clearly. Hakoshi, Mr. Atakai, we do hear you in the chambers. If you do have a presentation, feel free to email it to us as well. We didn't receive any documentation from Division of Community Development prior to today. But if there is, feel free to email those so we can distribute that among the colleagues. Mr. Atakai, you can go forth with your presentation. I believe we did, Mr. Atakai, just for the record, we did receive the presentation and we did email that out. You should see it within your email. Mr. Atakai?
Can I allow some time to Mr. Castillo, the Executive Director for the Division of Community Development?
Mr. Castillo, if you're online, you can unmute yourself.
Oh, good morning. Yeah, Madam Speaker, Ms. Curley, I thank you, and members of the 25th Council. I'm glad to be here with you. We're here to help you, enlighten you on how the CPMD and capital outlay and the FRF funds are going to be expended under this program. So, yeah, for having us.
Thank you, Mr. Castillo. You can go forth with your presentation, and once your presentation is done, we can go forward with discussion and comments.
Okay, thank you again. I'm going to have James go over the shortfalls and what's been going on the last 2 years. And then after he's done with his presentation, then I'm going to come in with the plan and how we're going to tackle it. So that's how we're going to do this presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Castillo. Mr. Atakai, you can go forth. Mr. Atakai, if you can press star 6 to unmute yourself, then you can proceed with your presentation.
This is James Atakai. Madam Honorable Speaker Curley, though, honorable members of the Naa'bik Committee, Bishwas, Annofinigi, Nakadahas, Mr. Castillo, the Executive Director for the Division of Community Development. Shaya, I'm the Deputy Division Director, though, the Initiative Capital Projects Management Department, though, Administrative Service Centers Department. Aro Donesh, not of the net, Fachini, but Ani Dashijet, Polichini, Dashichet, Obaha, Dashanal. Nagay Sabin, just get there, or jet, or chapter Adi, the Nench, Adi, Chito, Ashia Hasni, Hodai, Doshin, which are there, sustainability. Binye Elenigi, chapter 518, Nagishi, Kudo Bahashato, Leto. So, pick it up, Nate. Angie, we have funding from the state of New Mexico Capital Outlay Fund, so Tribal Infrastructure Fund. We also have other special projects that we oversee from other divisions, federal funds. So, overall, we were counting 350 projects plus a day with the Celine and the Bezos Nada from the state of New Mexico. Let me go over the complications that we had the last 2 years, along with it, challenging opportunities as well. Na kinaka na hajishenta roita ya to question side in the nishni ako dainisha I is Sicily here at the Navajo Nation, the county, state, and federal, even the private sectors, the contractors. We have some staff, the key staff who retired. One of them is the registered architect, project managers. To fill those positions, it's been very challenging. For example, at the registered architect, we had to up the pay scale. So what they it was still advertising. We're able to fill about 3 positions at the end. We with that, we only have currently 9 project managers right now. Project managers and the field staff who are overseeing a large number of projects. The costs also went up due to the pandemic, and the challenges, the ordering materials, the effect that it had, on all of the projects that we do. Go through some back orders. For example, the cost increased to $900 per square feet for a building. That caused some shortfall, and we had shared that listing also with the council before. We're just putting together a working list right now to address the shortfalls on all of our projects. Multitasking, we've had, during the time, the question and we had a skeleton crew here delivering essentials, food and supplies to designated locations. we're able to apply for funds as well. Of course, CARES, we're able to implement that with the funds that we receive here, the power line and bathroom addition or solar projects. And also, we did some other projects such as heavy equipment, auto infrastructure, agriculture infrastructure fund, and also we had additional tasks at the time where we only have a few staff. So ako di peso nadat ahigi staff funding for staff higit abahat then. So we use our own staff, to multitask to implement these projects. If you look at other states, Utah, the state, they have employees to monitor and implement state-funded projects for Utah chapters. Out of New Mexico, Beso. Dan Khane, Neshako, Angel, staffing and Gido Bahanan, then what out of Arizona, and in the base of I think that's the part that we really need help with. Community land use plan, CUPSI function. CPMD is the only department right now assisting, all of the chapters who are requesting certification or recertification of the CUPSI. And that we hired a senior planner in our division to assist with some of the tasks. We do have one CPMD project manager also helping out along the way. And also, we did receive some funding with CAP 3518 based on that, 300,000 for staffing. Now we're down to about 67,000 dates. So we had to transfer those positions that we hired, two project managers and a planner. We transfer the two project managers to the regular staff right now because we're running out of funds. So in order to address, what we need, we put in our plan of operation, additional 17 positions. So we'll be putting together a budget for that for 12 project managers and 5 administrative support staff. What we plan to do is to put project managers over at the regional level, like Navay, Tuba City, there's no project manager from CPMD. Also Delcon area, up in Utah. We'll have one in Shiprock. We have one in New Mexico currently. And one in Chinle and one in Port of Defiance. So, other plant activities and initiatives, Asian production and has not told us, Mr. Castillo putting together a master contract. Let me go ahead and turn over to him right now.
Mr. Atakai, Mr. Castillo, could you please share your screen on the presentation that you're currently on? We do have the PDF document, but for our viewers and for people joining us on Zoom, maybe it'd be helpful to share your screen on your end. But you can go forth, Mr. Castillo.
Okay. Thank you again, Madam Speaker. I'm trying to get the PDF file up on the screen here.
Okay, colleagues, we'll give them a few minutes to share their screen on their presentation.
Can you see the screen now?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Okay. Just to elaborate what Mr. Adikai was going over, these are the funds currently at CPMD and Capital Outlay, CSN funds. As you look all the way to the right, you can see the totals there that what the program has. Or currently, we are about 111 million under CSN funds. For the New Mexico capital outlay, we're around 62 million. There's 233 projects in the queue for CSN and 182 for capital outlay, and those smaller projects under capital outlay. And then the next one is the Navajo Nation matching funds. There's 9 under there. There's 2 in Utah and 6 in Arizona. And the pie chart kind of shows where the majority of the money's at. As you can see, most of it is in the CSN funds, the blue shaded area. The green is mostly the TIF. The TIF money is those big projects, the Winter Rock correction facility that's going to be built in Fort Defiance. That's like 93 million, but the BIA is going to monitor that. They're going to be the project managers on that. And then a big school in Tohajale that kind of makes up for the funds. I believe that one's also around 90 million. So the BIA is going to be handling those projects under the TIF program. So as you go back to the left, from 2018, under the CSN funds, all these legislations were passed. We got about 66% of it complete. That left a total of 27,607,000 remaining from year one. And then as Mr. Adikai alluded to, the pandemic hit. Basically, the Navajo Nation government shut down in 2019, 2020, and 2021. So all those projects got kind of like pushed to this year's this year's allocation. So the project became a running total of 155 there. Then we got the capital outlay projects added to that. It doesn't go any higher than that. But as you can see, then there's another 81 that was added to it, which comes up to that 233 projects that we're currently working on right now. So I hope everybody kind of understands how this worksheet is working. Okay. Let me go to the next, this next slide.
Mr. Adekai, this is Delegate Slater. I'm taking over as pro tem. Are you sharing the slide now that you'd like?
Can you see this slide now?
Yeah, we can see it now.
Okay. All right. This is the big the projects that we're doing right now under CSN and Capitale. Some are matching funds, but these are those design, build, and CMAR projects that we're doing. Two project managers, Mr. Andy Thomas and Marcus Murphy, are working on these. The first one is the Vicente Chapter House Veterans Building. They're at 2% on that. It's 100% capital outlay, and they're pretty much on schedule for that one. The Pueblo Pintado Senior Center, that's at 35%. That's with Deltex, also capital outlay. The Cottonwood Senior Building, that one's at 15%. That one's all CSN money from year one. The Ganado Veterans Building, we have that at 20%. That one's also a CMAR, and Lamb's doing that. That's also a CSN fund project. The Tuba City Senior Building, that one is IDSA. Currently, that's at 90%. I don't see any shortfalls or anything on that, but this one's also on schedule to be done. The ones that are coming up now, and they're getting the tasks together. This is done. This is next one. Never mind. This is the continuation of the projects that we're still doing. Rama Chapter House or Chapter Senior Building, that one's at 10%. Lamb's doing that one. The St. Michael's Chapter Building is at 55%. That was also a CSN funds. Also in year one, we got the Oak Spring Building renovation. That one's at 95%. The Gutty Eye, this one's also a capital outlay and a matching fund with CSN. This one's at 20%. This one, we're going to be successful on that. We should be done by the end of June on this one. The Noslini Building, we're still pending the IGA from the New Mexico legislators. So it's going through the 154 process. This is CSN one. Shouldn't be opinion. Okay, never mind. So the next one are the projects that the two gentlemen are working on, getting them ready. The Cameron Chapter House Building demo, Chalchimbato Chapter Building, Mariano Lake Senior Building, the Shanto Center Building, Totlacan Senior Building, I believe that is, and Lone Mountain Chapter Building. So these two gentlemen, they've got about 18 projects on their plate that they're working on. And every day they're either going to some progress meeting or other meetings that are pertaining to these projects. So it's really hard to get them in a one building and get a good report from them. So they try their best to keep me updated on how the projects are progressing. But these two gentlemen are pretty busy working on this. I know there's a lot of requests for them to have them as your PM, but we're working on that, and I'll give you guys a schedule here pretty soon. So that's one presentation. Let me go to my next one. Okay, I hope everybody can see this one. What I did with these 4 or 5 people that are in the main building here at CDC, I re-signed some of these project managers. The project managers were doing everything, a little of everything. So after we categorize all the projects, I just assign one person to each item. So Irma Julian will be just working on bathroom additions. Mr. Henry J. Yazzie will be out working on the house wiring. Judith Willoughby will be working on the power line extension and wastewater lines. Mr. Sony Franklin is working on the fencing and the cemeteries, anything with that deals with land acquisition or additional land requirements. So that's how we have it assigned now, and I think it's working better because it was messing up the flow. They had to change their thought process to go back to either power line or bathroom additions or some type of renovation projects. I forgot to put on here was that Mr. Kent Ganson, he's working on all the vehicle purchases. So I have him assigned in those categories. It's kind of making the process flow better. Instead of them stopping one item and then starting another item that they got to get re-familiar with. It's just we're packaging, bundling it up, and then having those meetings with the NQA or the water department. So we're all in line toward these projects. So they can also schedule, like if we're doing power lines in that same area, and if they're working in that area, we can try to get those projects moving so they don't have to move too much. The utility companies that are going to work on those. So that's one plan we got. Let me go to my next one. Okay, everybody see the screen, and I hope you got this spreadsheet in your package. Okay, this is the master list for the CSN projects. If you go read down the line item, most of them are power lines, some are roads, senior centers, and things like that, backhoes, road maintenance, things like that. The thing that wasn't highlighted on this list is that a lot of the certified chapters are doing some of the PM work on these projects. We didn't have enough time to column those and show where those projects are at. But some of those, the chapters like Pinyon, Chinle, those type of chapters that they're Cove, they've got some projects that they're handling on their own. So that we didn't show on this spreadsheet. But this is the status of all the projects. If you want to look at the comments. That's where they're at. And then the color code is way at the bottom of what each color is meant down here. As you can see, the greens are completed projects. So we still have quite a few projects to go, and we're taking those out and categorize them in the same manner that we did the capital outlay projects. We've got power lines, bathroom additions, water lines, sewer, renovations, construction, and vehicle purchases. So those same folks that I assigned under the capital outlay will be doing the same on the CSM projects under this. Okay, let me go to my next one. Okay, I hope you can see this memo from the last administration's controller. Okay. The way we read this is that the time clock starts until the business unit is assigned. Not really when the money was allocated. So, but I believe we had 2 extensions, so it's 48 months. So if the business unit is finally created next week, the way I interpreted it, we got 48 months from there. Now, the legislation that was tabled from the last one, if we have an additional 2 months, that will give us 72 months to finish these projects. After the BU is created. So that's why I shared this document from the controller's office. Let me go to the next one. Okay, I hope everybody can see my screen again. Okay, what we've done, the previous director saw the limited staff that was here, and they went out and got outsourcing contract, an IDIQ contract in process. So that was done. 4 firms were selected. Now those 4 firms are going to help us bring everything up to date. And this is just one. This is the ones for the kind of like the southeastern chapters for the Navajo Nation. We assigned those council delegates to this outfit. One outfit is IDSA out of Albuquerque. We assigned them Lamardo Assets chapters, Sherilyn Yazzie, Seth Damon, Mr. George Toes, Nathaniel Nota, and Mr. Norman Begay. This is they're going to have about 32 chapters, roughly around 12 chapters that are LGA, 20 chapters that are non-certified. we're estimating about 121 projects. This one's on the FRF. This is just FRF only. As you can see, the 8.8 per delegate, and that's kind of the running total so far for the projects there. These are just all the numbers that we got, just numbers wrong. I need to correct that. Sorry about that. But the number of projects we're looking at is around 441 just for those 6 council delegates. So that they're going to help us put these. Actually, what they're going to do is vet the projects. Look at the projects, categorize them like the way we have it now: power line, water line, sewer, bathroom additions, renovations, vehicle purchase, that kind of stuff. They're going to help us vet them. Some of these projects were done in 2019. And because of the pandemic and supply chain issues and inflation, we're thinking that some of these costs are going to be around 30% higher than what was estimated. So that's kind of some of the first things they're going to look at is vet those projects, make sure that the costs are still the same. The power line and water line and all that should stay the same. It's just the renovation and the construction ones that I'm worried about, that the costs have increased. So they're going to help us vet those and see if they're doable, if they need to be downsized or anything like that. So these are the type of projects that they're looking at that are in the Section 3 of the EA in 2922. We're also going to have them do the CSN funds. DCD is mostly going to concentrate on the capital outlay projects. What we're going to have them do is have a kickoff meeting with all their chapters. We're kind of limited them so they don't overcharge us for multiple visits. So we put the one, or they're going to do a couple field visits, progress meetings, and a closeout meeting. They'll give us their estimates on when they'll have the kickoff dates, field visits, progress meetings, and when they'll think they'll have the closeout meetings. This is kind of the scope of work of what they're going to be doing. The thing we're going to concentrate is the work done. Is it the due date? If we're going to meet those, the proposed method of how we can deliver that project, especially the construction ones. Additional funding sources if needed, if they're coming up shortfalls because of the increase in the after they estimate them and get photos and everything like that. These are just kind of projected hours that we're looking at. We're trying to keep the costs under control, so that we're kind of limited under some of these work items that we have for them. I also reached out to some of the LGA certified chapters to see if they need any help, and we can accommodate some of their project managers from these firms. Most of them kind of want to do their own, but we'll still go ahead and monitor to make sure everything, the spending plan and budgets and everything are in order, and then help them process the invoices that are coming in. Or if they need help doing that, that's where these guys are going to come in. The IDIQ team will be a contract manager, a principal engineer, project managers, planners, technical writers, and cost. A rough timeline we're working on.
Mr. Castillo
Yes.
and Mr. Adekai, we have a delegate who has a question right now, and I think you provided a healthy amount of information, so I'm going to Recognize Delegate Parrish.
Thank you, Chair Pro Tem, Vice Chair Slater, for recognizing me this morning. Mr. Castillo, Mr. Adekai, thank you for your presentation this morning. It's just a very quick question along the lines of the cost increase projections. So in the case that, when the finalization of the costs come out and it's before you all and your project managers and community development, what is the Division of Community Development's plan in that mitigation? What are the steps that you are taking with the chapters that are initiating these projects? Are you asking the chapters to work with their delegates to get more money? Are you are you initiating creative plans to be cost saving? Are you changing plans altogether and starting over based on your budget? What is your approach to the cost difference? That's my question at this time. Thank you, Chair Pro Tem.
Mr. Castillo and Mr. Adekai, we'll go back to you. After you answer that question, then you can resume your presentation.
What we're going to do is most of them are renovations and chapter multi-purpose building, chapter house, warehouses, and things like that. Currently, we have we paid for the Naa'bik'iyati Nation's paid for multi-purpose buildings, chapter house, warehouses, and things like that. If the chapter agrees, if we can use those existing plans in lieu of the cost savings from doing a real design and everything again, those we can pull them out, just change the chapter name on them and use those, something along the line like that. Or either if it's like a warehouse, downsize it to all meet the budget, or any of the other buildings, if we can either downsize or eliminate something that can be eliminated. That's how we'll help with the chapters. If not, we'll say this is the shortfalls. We'll say this is the additional monies that need to be required. That's how we plan on doing that, Madam. I hope that answered your question.
You got the thumbs up, so you can keep going. Thank you.
Okay.
I don't know if you heard earlier, I said you got the thumbs up, so you can keep moving. I'm sorry.
Okay. Shall I continue?
Yes, please.
Okay. As I said, here is the map on how we have the IDIQ contractors distribute. The south side of the eastern and a little bit part of the Arizona side, IDSA out of Albuquerque will be assigned those delegates and those chapters. The northern half and up in Utah, these areas, Inaba out of Farmington will be helping with those projects, the CSM projects and the FRF projects in these areas. In between here, the middle section from here all the way up, the Lamb Corporation out of Gallup will be assisting those chapters in these areas. On the outside of Eastern Navajo, all the way down to Bird Springs here, JRSA out of Tucson, a gentleman by the name of William Draper, he will be assisting the chapters on this side. I think he's going to try to put an office in Tuba City and station out of there. So that's how we got planned for the IDIQ contractors to help us get caught up with all these projects from the pandemic that pushed us 2 years behind. These are just some of the mileages that we're looking at of where the IDIQ contractor is going to be coming in from, kind of get a control of that cost. And like I said, here are some of the buildings, the bathroom additions, water lines. All these I think won't change because we're using the existing entities that we're working with a lot here. I'm not sure about the cell towers. I don't know if that cost will be still good on that. The buildings here, these are mostly renovations, except for this warehouse one. These are the ones I'm worried about. If there's some of the costs have increases, the project managers and the estimators will let us know if these are still doable. The wiring, I think it will stay the same. Some of the equipment I know have gone up 30%. So these we're going to be looking at also, the purchases. This will stay the same. There's some in the Section 3 FRF. They're requesting some of this for the hazard pay stuff. There's some transportation items in there. The assistance for heating, food, and all that. That's awesome. So there's some I call them low-hanging fruit. The bathroom addition, the water lines, the power lines. These, we can clump them together and get another contract out to NQA for all these projects. It's just the buildings and the renovation ones where the IDIQ contractor is going to help us put those plans together and the schedules to complete these projects. And like I said, right now we got 48 months with the second extension of the CSN funds. The third one will help. That will give us 30 to 72 months. But as far as the New Mexico capital outlay projects, we're pretty much caught up. Well, none of the money is going to be reverted back. We got extensions on that one. We also have plans to get those done. And my boss, the President Nyquin, and Madam Vice President assured the New Mexico legislators that we're not going to revert any money back in. But that's we were working hard on that. We did some lot of questionnaires and IGAs that need to be done for the new projects that came up. So we were pretty busy. So I didn't really have a good PowerPoint that I wanted to put together, but we were busy putting those packages together and get them out and assure that the New Mexico legislators that we're going to get these projects out. So that's the end of my presentation. We'll entertain questions now.
Delegate Parrish, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chair Pro Tem Slater. And thank you again, Mr. Castillo and Mr. Atakai, for your presentation today. I just have a follow-up question to the initial question that I asked. How does the Division of Community Development work with chapters if they are in disagreement with the plans proposed because of the cost differences? How do the project managers move forward, or do they not move forward? How does the Division of Community Development, TPMD, work with then the chapters directly if the plans no longer meet the initial what was initiated when the plans begin? So I just had a question about once these plans do change, because they will change because of the cost differences, how is the Division of Community Development addressing that? Thank you.
Seeing no other comments, we'll go back to the presenters.
Okay. Thank you again, Shinantai, Madam Chair, or Honorable Chair Parrish. What we're going to do is, if it's FRF, if the cost did really increase or something needs to be done, the spending plan and the budget forms have to be redone. Those will be filled out, get them out as quickly as possible, and get them through reprocess whatever the chapter wishes to do to either downsize or put other projects in there. On the CSN side, we'll start the change form process and also go with what the chapter wishes to do with those funds, either downsize or change the scope of the work or things like that. That's how we're going to work with the chapters.
Chair, this is Delegate Otto.
Thank you, Delegate Otto. So, colleagues, I just want to remind you that Ms. Sosi sent out, I think you muted it again. Okay, sorry, we're having some muting and unmuting difficulties here. Colleagues, I'd like to remind you that Ms. Sosi sent out an email with the request to speak number, and that helps keep things clearer with registering the listing for speaking. Delegate Claude, are you requesting to speak?
Yes, Delegate Slater, I do have my hand raised.
Okay, yeah. And colleagues, just want to remind you, we're going to use the request to speak line. That's how you're going to request to speak, or if there's a break, you can request. So we'll go to Ms. Claw, and then we'll go to Mr. So afterwards, and then go back to the presenters. Delegate Claw?
Yes, good morning, everyone, and to all the honorable colleagues, and then to Mr. Castillo. As I was listening to your presentation, I do have a similar question in line with our Madam Chair Parrish. So for the presentation that was shared today, you did mention that those that are LGA certified are not listed on the projects. However, I would still like to see that list. As you know, I do have only one chapter, and it's very pertinent for myself to stay on top of those projects. And right now, Chinle chapter is not having their regular meeting as well as their planning meeting. And so it's very difficult to get any information from a certified chapter if they're not having their regular and their planning meetings. So the only line of communication would be through DCD. And so we are relying on you to share that information with us. And then in regards to the same question, Madam Chair Parrish asked, how are you going to mitigate those expense and the funding source if we're not aware of how they're spending? So those are some of the questions that I have. So I humbly request that you do include the certified chapters into the listing, and that we get updates on them as well. Regardless if they are a certified chapter, they are still using funds from the Navajo Nation, and therefore they should still be in compliance and they should still be monitored. So that would be my recommendation. And I will go ahead and turn it back over to you, Chair, Honorable Mr. Slater. Shanella.
Is that unmuted? Thank you, Shanella. Delegate So, you're recognized. It's not Ush.
Good morning, Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Okay. I do represent Mr. Castillo. Thank you for your presentation to this body here. And what I'm getting to is that same thing is that I represent the certified chapter there in Tuba City, one chapter. And we all know that the certified chapters has their own authority for land, and that is the main thing. is what Honorable Claw has spoke about is that there's still Navajo Nation funds, and so particularly to a project that's in my community, the Cuba City Senior Citizen Project. I think that there has been dialogue going back and forth pertaining to the management of the project. And I don't want to, say he said or they said or whoever said. But I believe the communication at this time now is that the chapter is going to go ahead and assume the role to take over all of the or take over the project. And so with that, that idea has floated before, and at the same time, it still allowed the nation to have their eyes and ears over certain designs and so forth. But really need to move forward with that directly funding or directly infusing the chapter in the certified chapter, in this case my certified chapter, to go ahead and move forward to complete that building. And number one is that it will relieve pressure off of your office because of the many other chapters that you have to manage. Your program has to help manage their projects. And I think in this case, my chapter in Tuba City would be able to manage that on their own and continue to move forward with it. And I just would like to request that you do move forth and try to execute those requests. I believe there's dialogue going on between the chapter and Division of Community Development. But I just ask that you do support that so that we can move forth on the Tuba City Senior Citizen Project. And I believe the A&E has been completed, and I believe we're just waiting for the funds to be infused, and we can move forth with the bidding process, and we can go ahead and manage, the chapter can manage the construction portion on their own. The other is that I just like to say I appreciate your staff, Mr. Patrick Delguy and Shayla, for their communication pertaining to my ARPA project for my region. And then the other is that they're also with the ARPA dollars that have been appropriated for the delegate region, the $2.2 million. I know that there was issue on getting information out to the chapter and to the community and so forth, but I think all of that has been overcome. But as moving forth, I would just suggest that if that communication is gonna, that type of communication is well needed at the local level. Number one is that I always say that when council's work pretty much to legislate laws and appropriate funds. And if council did those two items, we're done. And once the legislation is signed into law, that's when the executive branch picks up the responsibility to execute these projects. So you have a lot of weight on your shoulder to execute these projects for the nation as a whole. But I'm not trying to continue to improve the communication, and I know that there's there's regions that actually say that we don't have no communication and things like that. But I just urge that your program continues to try to do outreach to the chapters so that the communication is there. The other is that my region, we have 6.4 million appropriated in bathroom addition funding. And I think that one is that I need to have a conversation with your office pertaining to that. I do have some concerns, and I want to sit down to look at other alternatives, maybe looking at rediverting some of these funds to other needs of the community, meaning that there's going to be some bathroom additions, but there's not going to be that great of a number. And I'm feeling that there's going to be some leftover funding out of the $6.4 million for bathroom additions that was appropriated. So I think that conversation I want to have with your program. I will reach out to your office tomorrow, next week, and see if we could have a dialogue pertaining to that issue on the 6.4, and like I indicated, maybe we can put it into other areas of the community for the community needs pertaining to the ARPA. So, thank you very much.
You just turned it off. Thank you much, Delegates Claw. And so, on that bathroom addition note, I remember how when we were considering the legislations, the bathroom addition program was designed to align with where new water line extensions were going to go. But the council wouldn't accept that and wanted equal distribution among the delegate regions. For whatever reason, that was a requirement to get that bill passed. And we're seeing the results now of what's taking place. So, Mr. Castillo, Mr. Adekai, you're recognized to respond to the delegates' comments and questions.
Shannon, Honorable Claude, glad to hear from you. Correct, it is Navajo Nation dollars. The PMs that we assign to them will get reporting requirements that is needed from the chapters. Anything that looks like they need help on, we will help them. Kind of ask them if they would like our assistance either in re-estimating or calculating something that needs to be recalculated, or if a schedule needs to be done, if the schedule is not going to require something, or a critical path method to get the project out can be done with some of the engineers and everybody that's going to help with those projects. So yes, we will still be monitoring those. Honorable Soto, yeah. Yes, I look forward to talking to you. There is a lot of concern on the bathroom additions. We meet, we have a call in every Friday afternoon. Myself, the DCD, IHS, the Land Department, and NTUA. We look at the data. We try and, as Honorable Slater said, see where all these water lines are, and we got most of the clients. They're on KMZ files. They're put on latitudes to see how close these utilities lines are. We're trying to find the shortest distance and the cheapest cost. If we can get IHS or NQA to pay for some of those lines, then all we have to do is just pay for the bathroom addition. That's it. Right now, if everything's required, all the utilities, we're looking at about $150,000 a unit. But if it's just the bathroom alone, it's around 50, 55, 58. So that will be a cost savings, and we can stretch the dollars and add more clients to the list. And that's what we're working on every Friday, just by looking at the data and where all the clients are popping up at. Irijote, thank you.
Hello?
Yes, who's that?
Yes, hold on the line. Thank you. Hello?
Is that Mr. Tolth?
Yes.
Okay. Are you requesting to speak or just interjecting?
I have a comment.
Okay. Mr. Castillo,
And my
Mr.
comment-
Adekai, wait a second, Mr. Tolth. Mr. Castillo, Mr. Adekai, you've completed your response, right?
Yes.
Okay. Colleagues, would anyone like to speak beyond Mr. Tolth? We don't have anyone in the queue.
Yes.
We don't have,
Nobody texted.
who is that?
Hello?
Hey, just hold your horses. I'm asking if anyone else would like to speak after you. And colleagues, for the record, we have Delegate Simonson, Delegate Parrish, Delegate Nota, Delegate Norman Begay, Delegate Damon, and Delegate Arvizo here in the chamber. Mr. Tolth, please continue with your questions and comments.
Mr. Pro Temp Slater, I'm just calling in. I'll speak later. Thank you.
That was a good one. Thank you. It's Friday, isn't it? Okay, colleagues. I'm going to ask you for direction. I believe that there are some more components to the presentation. Mr. Castillo, Mr. Adekai, you have further presentation items, correct?
Oh, no, that completed my presentation of how we're going to tackle the projects.
Okay. Mr. Arvizo has some comments or questions. Delegate Arvizo, you're recognized.
Pro Temp here, Delegate Slater. Mr. Castillo, Otto, and Mr. Adekai. Yesterday we had controller here, Mr. McCabe, and I asked him the same question. Yeah, how can we help our chapters do non-contract purchases like woods, hay, propane, and stuff like that? The ARPA funding I know that the chapters have those relationship with NAPI and other source of hay. Aron da at the chapter, and they get paid, usually get paid from the chapter. So I'd like to know how you plan on doing those types of purchases, Mr. Pro Temp.
Thank you, Delegate Arvizo. And before we go to Mr. Castillo, I would like to mention for your and the committee's information that the Budget and Finance Committee passed a resolution sponsored by Delegate Damon on Tuesday that I think is going to make a lot of programs and chapters' lives easier. And I would encourage you to look at legislation 7523, and in that legislation, it identifies that you don't need a service contract for services under $10,000, right, Delegate Damon? And then there's a couple other requirements there. It still maintains competitive bidding in important aspects of our procurement code, but the requirement to enter into a service contract for, I don't know, brushing the aluminum banisters in the chamber that would cost $80 from someone is not a requirement. We don't have that here, obviously, but I was trying to think of something that's so tiny. And And Delegate Damon is teasing me right now because on Tuesday, when we had our committee meeting, he's been advocating to obtain a printer for the committee's usage. And I said, I can't believe you had to change the entire procurement code just to get a printer. These are amendments that have been a long time coming and have been worked on over multiple administrations, and I'm happy that our committee, under Delegate Damon's leadership, was able to make these changes. So every committee member, you should look into this because you can advise your chapters now, read that legislation, and then consult with your administrative service centers to make sure they get updated guidance on where the procurement code stands now. But Mr. Castillo and Mr. Adekai, you're recognized to respond to Mr. Arvizo.
Okay, thank you very much, Pro Temp Chair Slater. So, yeah, for the question, should I die, Mr. Arvizo? James, are you still on the line? I'll let you answer that one.
Yeah, det är Shananda. This is James Adekai. Delegate Arvizo's question regarding purchases. In some cases, I think we have used sole source letters if there are no other contractors to do the type of work, the scope of work, or purchases that we're trying to do. Actually, there are procurement procedures that we need to follow. I know there's the new legislation, Honorable Pro Temp Slater mentioned. We'll be looking at that new legislation, see how we can work with it. So, Ishintashi, we can go ahead and meet on this, see how we can proceed moving forward. Shananta, Delegate Arvizo.
Mr. Chair, Mr. Toth here.
Thank you, Mr. Toth. You're recognized.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate the Pro Temp Chair. I have wanted to ask how many personnel are within the community development. My understanding, there's only a few project managers that's supposed to be working on these projects. Especially state of New Mexico, we have some money that's coming in that was approved, and we wanted to know, the New Mexico chapter wanted to know how many project managers do you have in your office. If you don't have any personnel, what my chapter wanted to do is combine 4 chapters. They're going to hire a project manager to assist the community development. That would be, if it's okay, but the only problem we'd run into is the consultant. We have some consultants in our area are certified and have worked with the community development. So if the community development's not doing anything, we would like to help, see if we can hire our own. Even the certified chapter should get the money directly to the chapter. So that can be done. We'll go for that. See, right now we don't want our money to expire. We had to spend within 2 years. So we don't want it to convert back to New Mexico. We would like to ask the community development director if that can be done because of the situation you guys are in. You're going to hire a new program manager, then you're going to have to go through the red tape of hiring that individual, and then it has to be orientated. And then, the protocol is there. So
with further, the process with and he could only George Abiga a copesa kada the money that we apply for, funds that we apply for, what now that can be done because we want these projects to go forward. That's what people are waiting for us. Even the process of ARPA, and sometimes it delays, and sometimes your department loses the document, and then you have the poor excuse. So how long is it going to take for you to hire all these personnel so they can start working? It's going to take several months to hire people. How can we resolve that? Because we're depending on you if you're going to have a project manager. Sister project, what's customarily cemetery, Codejo, Justio J, Sad, State English, or your project manager. Since 2 years ago, he went to COVID. I don't understand, your project manager. Again, we finally got a hold of him, and then all he did is we're going to meet now. How long is it going to take? Who's in charge? Who is assigning these project managers to expedite all these projects? It even other days, Mr. Adekai and also Mr. Castillo is there, they need to answer that because they're the people in charge. So what the air question ani because I even the people such a wings and the conduct the natural bata neko even that or other night the hard face of and the Sanderson is not going for that no that has she called over here. I get all your frustration. They would attack on his 8 to 5 nationals. I don't know what on how that every day people come knocking on our door chapters. Chapter official are frustrated that we're not going forward. So the other recommendation I have also is since we're on this topic is that we need to do emergency fund that will be given to the emergency department. So okay, we don't have to have council to say okay that money should be set aside with the emergency department. Then we have to go through the council and justify it and Mr. Dakai, I'm still in Albuquerque attending government to government education summit here in Santa Ana. Even I'm just calling in right now, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Toth. I think Mr. Castillo and Mr. Adekai answered all those questions at the beginning of their presentation, and I'll go back to recognize them to restate what they shared before. Mr. Castillo, Mr. Adekai.
Thank you again, Pro Tem Chair Slater. I need to get on Mr. Toth, Honorable Toth. Right now, we have 9 project managers that are staffed. We only got 1 in Crown Point. The gentleman that does the land withdrawal and the fencing project, he's housed here at the main office. But he's going to start working. We just finally transferred Mr. Kent Ganson to that Crown Point office. So, yeah, we do need more project managers over there to work with the chapters. And as Mr. Toast alluded to, these projects are only for 2 years. And we want to make sure that these projects are vetted right, that the projects that are requested from the new state of New Mexico are vetted and can be done in those 2 years. So we want to work with the chapters and get them done. We do have three positions that are coming on board. Two are project managers. They're in the final stages. They're getting their background checks done and everything. This week we did some interviews. We're going to hire another person that's going to do mostly all the invoicing and tracking about the projects and things like that, helping the project managers put the scope of work together, putting the IGAs if needed with the state of New Mexico, filling out all the bond questionnaires that is required under the state of New Mexico requirements, getting the change forms, getting probably even the packages done for the FRF redone if some of them have to be changed. So once we bring them on board, we'll have another person helping with that because Ms. Draper is really doing everything herself now. With a new person we got on, our Naa'bik'iyati, she's pretty good. So we're slowly beefing up. I'm trying to get good people to work here, people that know the software that can be done, that all this work can be easily accessible instead of being paper filed and files. So, Mr. Tothika, Naa'bik'iyati.
Kevin, Chair Slater, can you come back? Add me to the queue. Thank you.
Okay, Delegate So, I'll put you at the bottom of the queue. Delegate So, you're recognized. We got no one in the queue.
Could I be added for a
Who is that?
Thank you very much.
Wait, hold on. Who is that who interrupted?
Oh. Do I have the floor?
Can you speak up a little bit?
Okay, yes. Do I have the floor?
I think that was James Adekai or Calvin Steele, the other one, but Otto So has a...
Oh, was that Mr. Adekai or Mr. Castillo who was asking to speak?
No. Do I? Or,
Oh, it's Delegate Toth?
all right.
Okay. Delegate Toth, did you have a follow-up? Delegate Toth, you're muted.
Yes, sir. Mr. Slater, I have a follow-up questions.
Okay. Delegate So, I'm going to let Delegate Toth ask a follow-up because I think his full question wasn't answered, and then I'm going to go to you afterwards, okay? So bear with us. Delegate Toth, you're recognized.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that time again. Mr. Adekai, I know you have somebody in Crown Point. This individual is very not knowledgeable, so can you speed up to where this individual, not only one's going to work, because we have 31 chapters and a lot of money that was requested. So I would recommend we have extra people in there that can do the job with all agencies. A lot of these project managers has a whole list of projects. They don't know where to start. So, so if these two individuals would be justified to the state of New Mexico with all the agencies, we should have their own project manager. There's qualified people out there. And how come we're not hiring those people? And the chief of my room. So how da United States Sakada no Kokodo Shota make employment no now it seems Father Hunt said they are even the directors are there. How come he's not answering those questions because he's in charge? So we gotta get these projects going. We just can't sit on it and have excuses. So I would have some update information every now and then. I show that affect out the A-bomb, some case owners still say no. It's not good. I don't go hard at that. You gotta do a lot of orientation and make sure that individual doesn't make a mistake, because being a project manager, you gotta have experience, you gotta know how to ride, you gotta know how the system works, and all that. That would be my final comment. Thank you, Protector.
Thank you very much, Mr. Toth. I believed I said Mr. So, and then we'll go to Shitsui Delegate Simonson afterwards. So, Delegate So, you're recognized.
Hey, can you hear me now?
Crystal clear.
Okay. Yeah. Ash for the time, and just one thing is that I guess what Mr. Toth is talking about and has brought to the attention is that I guess the support team, I'm not going to say you're not hiring enough people and things like that, and we all know that the DPM issue, people are not applying for these positions, and there's open positions and so forth. But I guess, is there a plan? I know that DPM was trying to amend policy to try to get it to streamline the hiring process. But I guess with community development and with the dialogue that's going on with DPM on streamlining the hiring process, is there a, has community development in that dialogue with DPM on streamlining all of their positions so that they could address such as what Honorable Toth talked about earlier pertaining to getting that support at the agency level. The other is that, there's some chapters that need help. Although there's some chapters that are in predicament that because of themselves, it's because of things that happened that allowed individuals not to be there. But how is your program helping those chapters to assist them so that you could try to provide that technical assistance? Because if a chapter does not have their staff at the local level, because I was approached by a chapter, and their predicament is not, they just don't have the staff. Then, so how does community development going to assist them, especially at the local level? And I think you have a separate team that's addressing the chapter issues. But these chapters, some of them, they're struggling. Basically, what they're doing, and I try to get their proposals together and get their information together due to the lack of positions. And so, just wanted to know what type of collaboration your program is trying to put in place so that they could provide these assistance, because they do ask They want to do good, but they just don't have the staffing to finish out certain things. Maybe a budget form, or I don't know. But we know that community development is the oversight of the and your program has that responsibility. And I think that technical assistant needs to be expanded out until such time community development draws the line and say we can't do this no more. But again, there's other things that can be done. You know, maybe the council can move to make the chapters the fourth branch of the government. Maybe that's another way. But how you know? But at this time, these chapters are under community development and that assistant. And I know your program doesn't have the manpower, and that's the reason why you're outsourcing a lot of these things. But again, in a realistic world, you know, how can we try to look at increasing the sub-technical support there and what is needed? Because you know, whether this chapter is in the Western, there's probably another chapter like that in, you know, in Chinle Agency or in Fort Defiance Agency or Northern or Eastern. The other thing too is that the LGA certified chapters big in and how are you trying to work with them so that they can assert their own, you know, their own authority that's given to them in Title 26. But again, I appreciate your time here. Yeah.
Thank you, Delegate. So, Delegate Simonson, you're recognized.
I'm just wondering, my question is specific to CHID, and I'm wondering if Mr. Patrick Delguy is on the line. If not, I'll go ahead and proceed with my question, and if those on the line might be able to answer it right away, or maybe Mr. Delguy can email me back. But I recall a few meetings back that Mr. Castillo was, so this is specific to CHID and with the 10 or less homes. So the question on that one, or what I'm asking on that is, you had mentioned that you're going to get, I don't remember exactly what the crew you referred to them as, but they were some sort of assessment crew that were going to come through and kind of do sweeps starting maybe from Eastern across through the chapters to look at those CHID applications and to start to evaluate and assess who would absolutely get those homes. And so I'm wondering if that is still, it has begun, or, you know, kind of a timeline of when that's going to happen. So that's my only question. Thank you.
Mr. Castillo will return to you to answer the questions that were requested by the committee.
Okay, thank you again, Pro Tem Chair Slater, Honorable Slater. First question, Mr. Honorable Toast. We are trying to reestablish the engineering, planning, and technical section of this program. Right now, the way I look at it, it's the salary structure. It'll be hard to bring in a licensed engineer and a licensed architect for around $70,000. Some of those need to be changed, and a lot of them will be lacking experience that do come and apply for it, or they're coming out of retirement. So that's the thing I'm looking at. What I'm trying to do is reestablish like a public works in a county where all of the communities can go to the public works and seek engineering help, architectural help, land surveying help, all that, some estimating, even contract administration help. That's what I'm trying to reestablish. So that will be after I've got most of the ARFA projects completed, kind of on the roll. I would probably be trying to visit some of the local colleges. When I was visiting some of these events, a lot of the college universities were at these events, and they were asking the municipals and the consultants, how do you want us to educate these young engineers, young architects? What kind of classes should we be taking? What kind of software should we be teaching them? That's the kind of stuff that I would like to visit these colleges and say, we need young engineers on the reservations, and these are how we work together. This is the software that we need them to be working on to help move all the projects that are required on the Navajo Nation. Just a little bit of recruiting or outreach to the colleges to see how many students are seeking that kind of line of work, and kind of say, the Navajo Nation's here. We would like to hire you when you guys get out of school. Kind of visit those colleges is what I'm aiming at. Other than that, I'm trying to do a shadowing program also here. The ones that retired and during the pandemic, there was some valuable people that left. They had a lot of knowledge. They knew the process in and out of how to get these projects done. That's what we lost, and when some of it was never really taught to some of the folks that are here now, but some of them have caught on and know the process. That so as Mr. Toh said, the gentleman at Crownport is kind of young, but we were trying to have him shadow some folks so he can catch on good and see if he can start learning the system, who the network of people he needs to learn to tie in to get these projects in. So that's kind of what a shadow program that I'm working on also here. Back to Mrs. Simonson's question on the CHID. We started the assessments on the eastern side. We're 30% complete. We're still trying to get a crew together to start on the western side. But Mr. Delegai is working on a scope of work for me. So we're going to have the IDIQ contractors also help us do some of those assessments. They'll be looking at the roads, like I said, see if anything needs to be leveled or any obstacles that need to be removed, the place that where the home's going to be put, if any leveling or demolition that needs to be done. Also, Mr. Delegai is mapping everything on a GIS map, and he's also getting the information from NQA where all the utility lands are at. So we can look and see how far the water and electrical stuff that's going to come to those houses. So those are all in the assessments that we're doing. So I hope I answered everybody's question. Thank you.
Delegate Simonson, you're recognized for a follow-up.
Oh, thank you for that response, Mr. Castillo. But do you just have some kind of, so two things. Do you have some kind of timeline as to when maybe you bring on the Western people? And then two, when your person, so this 30% that is complete, did they actually select the names and the people who absolutely will be receiving the homes? That's really important for me because right now we're starting with our chapters with all the projects they have going, and we want to do a real assessment inventory of these people who potentially will be receiving these homes, and just if they are prepared in every way, starting from do they have a home site to maybe the road to their home, and then, you know, just water and electric structures and any other needs that they may have. So, so going back to the question, with the 30% you have complete, did you absolutely identify the names? And I don't know that you've identified or notified, the families, but that'll be my question.
Mr. Castillo?
Honorable Simonson. Right now, Mr. Delegai is looking at the list. There are some items that some of the home sites don't. The person's name on it is not the same person that applied for it. Things like that. So I'll probably have him call you and let him the team that he's put together to make that selection.
Mr. Castillo, Yate, Patrick Delguy here on the call.
Okay. Go ahead, Pat.
Okay, Yate, honorable delegates, Naa'bik'iyati committee, Potent Chair, Honorable Slater. This is Patrick Delguy, Community Housing Infrastructure Department, Department Manager. And I'll add to Mr. Castillo's answer on the timeline and the 30% question. For timeline, we're looking at possibly within the middle area of the Navajo Nation to the west, and we're looking at possibly getting that done within the next month. We're moving pretty quickly. We've already completed about 25 to 30 chapter assessments so far. So again, we are having little challenges as far as getting the documents and the applicants, to correspond with the home site lease, the names that they provided in the application, and also the necessary documents that were needed to be attached. There's some missing information, so the chapter is trying to retrieve those documents from the applicants. But in the meantime, at the beginning of our application process, we asked that all the applicants please provide all documents so we don't run into this delay or issue. Otherwise, we have to put them aside as pending and move forward with other applicants. So those are the kind of decisions that we have to make right now, just to keep our assessments moving forward quickly as possible. We have completed several delegate region locations chapters. So what we're going to do with those are begin prioritizing the list. We already have the recommended applicants from 1 to 10. So based on the funding amount and the household members and the number of bedrooms they're going to need, that will determine how many homes that we could assist them with. So we're again working from Eastern Agency. We started from Northern, and we've started here in Central within the Chinle and I think most part of Fort Defiance agency right now. So, but we'll inform the chapters. We have been informing the chapters, letting them know when the scheduled home site assessments are taking place, and we CC and include the delegates on this correspondence. So I'm hoping the chapters are sharing the information to their delegates. And I also asked that my staff possibly include the delegates in the emails, correspondences, so they're aware of these dates for home site assessment. So, but we are moving forward, and we're getting these done as quickly as we can. We are also getting calls from these applicants asking what the next process is. But again, 10 applications were asked for to be submitted through a portal, and not all 10 applicants will receive a home. It's just based on the amount of funding the chapters will be receiving through the 24 delegate regions. So hopefully that answers the question. So thank you, Pro Tem Chair, Honorable Slater, Shad.
We have Delegate Simonson in the queue. You're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Delguy, for answering that much, but I don't think I've got the answer to, so I understand, yes, that there are 10 names submitted, and that maybe depending on the family size and the size of the home they get, that reduces the overall number from 10 to, I don't know, whatever number it'll come down to, but so while you're going through the assessments and checking all the paperwork, are you at that point in time making that absolute determination on who is getting the home?
Mr. Delguy, are you still there?
Yes.
Thank you. And
Okay,
I mean, before you continue, can you clarify? I was informed that, I mean, there's 10 that's submitted, but there's no way 10 homes per chapter is being built. It's anywhere from 1 to 3, depending on how much funding there really is. The money was divided by delegate region, not by chapter, and then it goes from there. So, pardon?
Yeah, okay, John.
Sorry, we had a question here in the chamber.
Do I put him on?
No, you don't need to unmute him. But Mr. Delguy, continue with your response to Delegate Simonson.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. Quick response to the question. Once the recommendation that we have for the applicants, we will share that information with the chapter and the delegate. We like to sit down at the table and go over the recommended list that we have, and if all parties are in agreement, we'll proceed with moving forward and working on procuring homes for these potential applicants. So not our office, but we like to include the chapter and the delegates during this process as far as the selection of the applicants. So we will be notifying the chapters also on that information. So we'll be working with the completed chapters starting from the eastern area, working this way. So I'll be setting up those meetings here shortly within the next week, and going through the priority list and coming to agreement on the selection of these homes. Thank you.
Colleagues, we don't have anyone in the queue. I'm going to ask for any questions on agenda item 3A1. Or not 3, I'd say 2, which is discussion and comments by the committee members. I interjected in that last one because I wanted to make sure we had clarity on the responses and the questions, which I do have an obligation as chair to perform. If I don't hear any further comments or discussion, there are no further presenters on our agenda. So we'll conclude the meeting unless someone chimes in here. Hey, that's muted. Okay.
Yes, this is just a general comment. Hello?
Who is this?
This is Levi.
Who is that?
And I just want to comment that Fort Defiance was
Well,
Fort Defiance was already a detainment camp for the Diné. Tehotsoa needs to be an education hub. You want to spend 93 million to lock Diné people up. That's Bilagana. Educate the children for all the positions that you guys say you don't have qualified Diné for. Thank you.
Mr. Castillo, is that one of your staff members?
Pro Tem Chair, no, it wasn't.
Okay. I just want to remind people on the line that the folks who are authorized to speak are the delegates and the presenters upon recognition by the chair of the committee, and whoever just spoke was not recognized to speak, so please do not interrupt this meeting. Okay, committee members, I don't hear anyone else who is requesting to speak at this time. Anyone else who is making comments or questions? How many delegates do we have on the line? There's 7 delegates on the line, and let's see here, we have 5, 6, 7 here. Okay, committee members, if I don't hear any further questions or discussion, we're going to adjourn the meeting today at, what time do we have? 11:05 a.m. I want to thank the Division of Community Development and Mr. Atakai from CPMD. And since I was running this meeting, and you know I like to ask a lot of questions, you're going to get some emails and calls from me since I didn't get to talk today. Everyone have a great weekend. I want to congratulate all of our graduates that we have out there. I know we have some graduations, and that's taking our leadership away to support our young people and our continuing learners and our non-traditional learners. But you're going to do great. Navajo Nation Council loves you. We support you. And you just heard how many jobs that are needed within our own government. So I hope that our Division of Human Resources is doing everything they can to help bring those people on with some of the ideas that this council has shared. And I hope that our people who are listening in on the line have a great weekend. Enjoy the weather. I think it's going to be pretty decent out. And make sure you take care of your animals, your livestock, your kids, your relatives, and check on someone you haven't thought about in a while. So have a great weekend. We're adjourned.